Hi, this is a video I hope some people will be interested in regarding a long road trip in a Tesla Model 3 Standard Range Plus. I know a lot of people are interested to see whether these vehicles can cope with a long journey, and what it's like. Every year we drive to the Alps to go skiing. We'd normally go in this, our trusty VW camper van, but it's getting quite expensive to run now and it's not as nice to drive. So we thought we'd take this one this year, and if you watch the video, you'll find out how we got on. Very early start this morning because we're off to go skiing in the Alps at Val Thorens. Going to go via the Eurotunnel and get to Lyon tonight, stay in a hotel, and then up into the mountains. Total journey's something like 800 odd miles. Got a roof box on the car, we're fully loaded. So I don't think the efficiency is going to be great, but it should be interesting to see what it's like doing a massive long journey. The total is going to be around 1,700 miles, I think. There and back. See how the Tesla Model 3 Standard Range can cope with that sort of distance, how charging works across the continent, and if it's something that is easy to do in a slightly smaller car than what we've been used to in the past. So yeah, first stop will be either Eurotunnel, or we might stop on the way there because that's 200 miles away at Folkestone. We might stop on the way there to get a little charge and a coffee somewhere, just so we've got plenty of battery when we arrive. Okay, start now. First stop of the journey at Fleet. We've done about 100 miles using 300 watt hours per mile at the moment, so it's going to be quite thirsty on this journey. Have to stop every couple of hours for a top up, but that's fine. We stop that often anyway, so it should be fine. Here we are on the Channel Tunnel. Got here no problems, charged up for a little while. Folkestone supercharger. Really busy though, and running slow. It's only getting about 65 kilowatts, and there's a couple of Enyaqs taking up spaces and a Zoe, so I think they'll probably need to get some new stalls there soon. So now we've only got about 65%, and it's going to be hard to reach Amiens, so I think we're going to have to go via Lille, which is going to take a little bit longer, but don't really want to run out the autoroad route, so we're doing 80 miles an hour. Going to be eating the battery pretty quick. Okay, since we got to France, the conditions aren't great. Very windy and lots of rain, standing water, so the efficiency's gone way down. It's currently on the trip we're on, 370 watt hours per mile, which is the worst I've ever seen. So I think the range is probably only about, I don't know, 140 miles or something per 150 miles per charge now or something. So we're going to have to stop quite a bit more frequently. But it's a good test. It'll be interesting to see what the efficiency overall is like in really bad conditions.
Peace out, EV crew.
We're at de Bay de Somme. First Tesla charging experience in France. It's pretty good. 143 kilowatts. Bad news is efficiency's not very good. I think we're going to get about a range of about 230 kilometers for 100%, or about 145 miles. So we're going to be stopping a lot. Be interesting to see what we end up with when we get home. Here we are at de la Baie de Somme. First charge in France, getting 143 kilowatts. We're pretty low down to about 20%. Just going to probably charge it right up now, because I think we're only going to get about 145 miles or 220 kilometers to a full tank with the wet weather, the surface water and high speed. So and the roof box, that's probably what's really causing the problem. But the efficiency is not great, so there's going to be a lot of stops. I think we're going to only average about 350 to 370 watt hours per mile, so it's going to be pretty thirsty. We'll see how it goes. We're here at the Reims or Reims supercharger, getting 171 kilowatts, and everybody is very excited.
No, we're not.
How excited are we, guys? Are we stoked?
I'm really happy.
Pretty impressed with that, but we're not getting much range. We just got about 100 and, what was it, Fred?
Like 215.
147 miles.
Oh, I thought you said like kilometers.
Out of, that was about
88%.
88% of the battery. So it's It's not working brilliantly in these conditions. I think the roof box doesn't help. Never mind, on we go. 655 miles in today. Tornus supercharger V3s. 20 chargers, all free at the moment. There's loads of chargers in France now. Non-Tesla ones at every service station as well. Big bays of sort of 6 or 8 or 10. So I think whatever car you've got, it'd be really easy to drive to the Alps now with an EV. But with a Tesla, it's super easy. We're in France now, at Val Thorens. It's the morning after we arrived. So the overall journey, we've done a couple of little trips around the village here, but the overall journey was about 860 miles, so you can see there, averaging 344 hours per kilometre, so it's pretty thirsty, but I think that was a lot to do with the rain and obviously the roof box. Since last charge, this is the one where the 31 miles of coming up the mountain, look at that, 659 watt hours per mile, so you've got to make sure you've got a good chunk of battery before you come up the mountain. There are chargers here in the covered parking that I'm going to use, and on the way down we'll probably regen tons because it's 30 kilometers of downhill coming out of Val Thorens back down to the valley. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see if we get better efficiency on the way back depending on the weather. Here it's not as cold as it should be. It's only sort of about 0. It's sort of snowing very lightly. Had a bit of snow overnight, but it's too warm really. It's quite scary how warm it is for this time of year. It was raining when we arrived yesterday, even at 2,300 meters, which is unheard of. But hopefully up top the snow will still be good. I'm just waiting for my boys to pick up their skis from ski hire from the very grumpy French people at Intersport here, and we'll be off for our first day on the slopes. End of the holiday, and we're leaving Val Thorens, all downhill for about 30 kilometers. We've only got about 50% of charge, so it'll be interesting to see how much regen we do when it's done. You interested?
So interesting.
We used 300 kilowatts to get here, 873 miles. I think it's going to be a bit less on the way back if the weather's not as bad. But this section will be very interesting to see what sort of efficiency we get down the hill.
Incredibly interesting.
First stop after 2 hours and 70 miles off the mountain. Really good efficiency all the way because of the downhill. Wouldn't it, Stan?
Yeah. Come on, grab a boiled egg. Where are they?
We're going to stop for a boiled egg and a quick charge up and then on to Macon. Okay, we came off the mountain last night, 178 miles. We only need to stop 176 miles. What am I talking about? 185 miles. Came off the mountain. Only needed to stop once for a quick 20-minute charge. So it's easy. Couldn't charge overnight at a hotel, so we're in Macon and going to supercharger to fill up. I think they've got 20 stalls and plenty of them are open. So that's the first port of call. Here we are at Macon, another French supercharger station. 20 stalls. I think it's just a V2. I'll have a look at what we're getting in a minute. These are everywhere in France now. You've got no problems covering the whole country and finding stations, especially, well, if you're on the péage network anyway, which I think most people will be if they're travelling long distances. So I think we've got to get a couple top-ups like this today. It's a shame we couldn't charge overnight at our hotel because that means you don't have to stop for the first few hours of the day. There's no facilities at this charger either, but there's a hotel there, so I suppose if you're staying there you can top up easy. We're going to have a quick sort of 20-minute stop up here, and then be back on the road to Calais as soon as possible. It's the trouble charging first thing in the morning when you haven't preheated the battery. We're only getting 86 kilowatts. You'd normally be getting 120 at one of these places, or even 140 if it's a V3. So it's going to take a little bit longer. I might not charge for a long time. I might get back on the road and charge a bit later. See how this goes. Bit of a late start this morning. We've had to charge here for about 40 minutes because we need to get up the road to Chateauvilliers, which is about 2.5 hours away. So we need a pretty full charge. Meant to cross at Calais at 9:30 tonight. Hopefully we'll get there a bit early and we can get on an earlier crossing. Just be a couple of charges on the way, hopefully. This place, good charging area, but there's not really much here. There's a restaurant and hotel. You can go and use the bathroom and buy a drink, I think, but I think it's better to try and work out where you want to stop and try and stop at some of the big airs, because then you can go and get something to eat properly and use the facilities without feeling weird. But that last trip was 140 miles. Did it in a couple of hours. 304 watt hours per mile. We're now at Chateauvilliers. We had to wait 10 minutes to get a charger. Never had that before, but it's packed out. There's people waiting.
It's another person.
Another Tesla just turned up. There's 3 people waiting, and it's only charging at 60 kilowatts.
Oh, there's another one over there. Jesus.
So we're going to be here a little while, but at this speed, it might be worth getting a quick charge and moving on to the next one. The next station is. Stan, where's the next one?
There.
They've only got 3 available there at
Le Petit Logers.
wherever that is. 150 kilowatts, 6 stores, 3
Champagne.
available. But how far is that? Do we want to go?
105 miles.
We're up to, charging 68 kilowatts. Not great.
I'm gonna be here for.
Have to think about what we do here. Been charging here for about 45 minutes now. Only 68 kilowatts. So it's taking forever. All the chargers in France seem to be really busy today. We're going to carry on now and maybe stop at Reims. See how we get on. But it's a bit more complicated today. You've got to think about it a bit, because you could get stuck somewhere really busy. It's probably best to aim for a place with more chargers, even if it's not quite the right place for you. So we'll see what happens. Even though it's been a bit tricky today with charging, and the whole journey's taken a lot longer than normal, when you're actually driving on the auto route and you can use autopilot, it does make it much more relaxing. Like we're doing 130, just following the traffic ahead, and you can just go on for 100 kilometers at a time without having to do anything, occasionally changing lanes. So it's making the journey much more relaxing. Charging at 171 kilowatts again. Battery was low and preheated. I think we'll try and get 100% here because we're going to go and get something to eat. Whoa. So, 1,650 miles later, we're back in the West Country, Wiltshire, Solstice services. These are all V3 superchargers. 1, 2, 3, 4, I think there's 18 of them, 16 of them. Really fast, charging at 170 kilowatts again. We're only about 50 miles from home, but just need a few extra kilowatts to get home. It's been a long old day of driving. We set off at about 9 o'clock this morning, and we'll be getting home by about 11ish. And I think we'll have done about 600 miles. I need to work it all out, but it's been alright. It's been a little bit slower coming in the Tesla than in cars that have come in previous years, but it's way nicer to drive, much more relaxing on the long auto route sections using autopilot. So yeah, a success. But I need to crunch all the numbers and see what it's cost and how much longer it's taken. I'm sure that's what people want to know about. But that's nearly the end of the journey. Back in Blighty, back in the rain. There's my boy's Leaf. Get that charged up. So the final total was just over 1,700 miles at 324 watt hours per mile. 300 kilowatts to get to to Val Thorens at 2,300 meters and 252 to get back. So coming down the mountain, you save loads of energy. Going up it, you use loads, I guess. There we go. It was a bit harder driving in the EV, in the Tesla, than it would have been in the van, and it's not cheap anymore. It's sort of 60 to 70 cents per kilowatt hour wherever you go now, but it was fine. We did have to stop a little bit longer, probably 3 hours longer each way, I think, than you would normally do if you're really rushing and barely stopping, just getting coffees or whatever. But it was fine, and much more relaxing on the auto routes and the motorways, having the autopilot, so that was good. Anyway, there we go. So to conclude, I didn't really record all the timings brilliantly, but we've done this journey lots of times. We always set off in the morning around 7 AM from our house in Somerset and try and stop somewhere near Lyon, which is 710 miles from home. We'd normally arrive there between sort of 9 and 10 in the evening. Taking the Tesla, we got there about 11:30 PM, so it's taken us a couple of hours longer at least for that leg of the journey. The next day, there's nothing in it really, because we drove a couple of hours to the base of the mountain, stopped for 20 minutes for a quick charge up, and then drove up the mountain. So it was 20 minutes longer perhaps on the second part of the journey. So you're looking at probably 2.5 hours for the whole trip, but you can combine that with stopping for a slightly longer lunch than you normally take, which was fine for us. It did take a bit longer, but it was fine. As for the cost, my Tesla supercharging bill for the time we were away was £250. I'd left the house fully charged. It cost me 5p a unit to charge my car at home overnight, 60-ish kilowatt battery, so you're looking at about £3. And then I had a charge overnight at a hotel on the way down, which was cheaper, and in the car park in Val Thorens, which is another 30 quid. So in total, £283, which works out as 16 pence per mile, or 10 pence per to 10 pence per kilometre. If I'd driven the van, 30 miles per gallon at £1.80 per litre, you're looking at over £8 a gallon, and that works out as 27p per mile, or 17p per kilometre. It would have cost us £459 the whole journey. To convert that to dollars or euros, it'd be about 10% more at the current exchange rate. So not quite half the price, but less than 2/3 of the price to go in the Tesla compared to the van, and a much more relaxing experience, even though it took slightly longer. So for me, definitely worth it. Well, that's how we're going to be doing it from now on, and I'd say go for it in a Tesla. You'll enjoy it. And if you've got a different type of EV, it's probably fine as well. You just probably need to do a bit more research, but on the auto routes there, they have got absolutely tons of rapid chargers everywhere, in France anyway. I'm not sure for the rest of Europe. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this video. If you'd like to like and subscribe, that'll help, and we'll be bringing more videos soon. Thank you very much.